Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Welcome back, dear learners, to this course on architectural thesis. My name is Dr. Vishal Chettry and I am working as an assistant professor in the Department of Architecture, Planning and Design at IIT BHU Varanasi. The content of this presentation will include, will discuss basically on the different challenges that are generally found when students appear for the architectural thesis. So, we will try to understand why are these challenges coming up, and also identify some of the common challenges faced during architectural thesis, and some solutions to overcome such challenges will also be identified, along with some different ways to overcome the challenges will be highlighted. Then we will try to conclude this presentation, since this presentation is all about the challenges that is being found during architectural thesis and how to overcome those issues. Then thereafter some wrap-up activities will be suggested and some resources will be shared with you. Thereafter the content of the next presentation will be showcased. So, to give you a recap of what was covered in the previous presentation, so we focused on time management strategies and also like how to focus on mental health and well-being during the thesis. So, time management is one of the essential component to complete any task or any deliverable on time. So, it helps to reduce stress, improve focus, and so that we are able to complete the task in a particular the honor before the deadline. A clear timeline with milestone helps to always track the progress and maintain the direction that is being followed. Build like if you break your task into smaller parts and prioritize ensures that efficiency is achieved. Time blocking and regular review of your work along with feedback keeps the workflow structured and also adaptable. Matching task to energy level, as discussed, that at which part of the day you feel more energized, so accordingly do that task and minimize distractions that improves the to improve the productivity. Balancing self-care with work protects the mental health and sustains the motivation. Organizing and archiving all the work would aid you to quickly access and prevent the confusion if there is anything in your thesis. So, now let us look into the challenges that was that generally any student would face during the architectural thesis. So, why does these challenges occur at first place? Because it is one of the significant academic project in your BR curriculum that would demand creativity, research and technical skills, that all is being taught to you in the 4.5 years. Students often face challenges such as selecting a focus topic, a specific topic for the project, because at time you may want to work for something very new, but what that new topic is actually identifying that becomes a challenge. Then balancing design innovations with practical constraints, managing time effectively, because if you select a topic which is very new and there has been very less work in the past, so that means you are not you will not be able to perceive that what would be the workflow that is required in this project. So, that is also a challenge associated with it. Then maintaining the mental health and well-being is obviously one of the mandatory thing that has to be followed. Recognizing these challenges is vital to develop effective strategies, because these all things are faced by the student, and before the thesis, since you are working on architectural design studios, but what happens is that at that stage most of your work are already being given for example area requirement, and all these aspects are covered in your thesis, or in your architectural design briefs. So area requirements, site, and the tentative case studies. So all these are generally mentioned or guided by the concerned like subject coordinator. But in architectural thesis, you are the one who are working on this on a particular topic, and you have to look for you have to justify the topic, that really a work is needed in this. Then you have to justify the site, you have to justify the case study, derive the area calculation for the project. Then like, and the following stage have to be done by yourself as you have done in your architectural design studio. So the preceding task to justify the case, then and all these before the concept stage is a real hurdle. So to devote your time accordingly, it requires some amount of time and some interest from you. So to give that these things to architectural thesis, you have to understand the challenges and then try to work towards overcoming these challenges. So these are some common challenges are listed here. So first, let us start with defining a clear and original topic. So that means that it is always a question that comes in the mind of student, that what topic should be selected for the architectural thesis. So at times people just students just select either a resort or an apartment complex or a school. So these are regular topics, but then when one wants to work in something very new and very challenging, so there the options are because the regular options are the new options that has to be selected for the project are very less. But if you try to observe in and around your surroundings very clear, very objectively, you will come up with some original ideas for the topic to be selected. So this is what it requires, too much of brainstorming and is a challenge in your architectural thesis. Balancing research and design. So this is another challenge, that how much of your time should you devote for research and how much for design, because research would include anything that you do before the concept stage. So all these ideas related to project, the standards, case study, literature review, and other details regarding that build typology is all a component of research. So you have to balance between the two, so that you don't devote too much time for research, then you are left with very few time for less time for the design purpose. So that should not happen. So you should balance research and design. Time management and workflow, technical skills, deficiency, because architectural thesis demands technical details. So you should have those skills within you. Conceptual clarity and communication, spatial and functional planning, incorporating regulations and sustainability, visual presentation quality of your presentation, handling feedback and criticism. This is also an art that has to be developed. Then resource constraints, if at all there is any. So let us now look into the details of each of these challenges. So the first is defining a clear and original topic. Many students, as discussed, they struggle to identify a focused, manageable and original research or design topic that is both relevant and feasible within the thesis timeline. So you have to work towards this. The next is balancing research and design. So integrating thorough research with creative design solutions while maintaining academic rigor can be difficult to achieve these simultaneously. So the balance has to be maintained, but how to maintain the balance will be discussed in the later stage. Then the other challenge as discussed is time management and flow. Managing multiple tasks like model making, drawing, writing, presentation, all these are tasks that are associated with your thesis. So with tight deadlines, how would you avoid developing stress and delay in your submission? So that is a challenge. Then in case of technical skills deficiency, few students may not be much proficient with some softwares, because these days softwares are required for you to complete your task digitally. So you have to be well conversant with some of the common softwares for drafting, for rendering, as well as for preparing walkthroughs if you require, or any simulations that are necessary. So you have to be well versed with all this software, so that you don't waste your time during thesis to learn this software at that stage, because you have less time. So you should not waste by learning something some new software at that stage. You should rather learn all the softwares in your preceding semesters and then apply it during your thesis. Conceptual clarity and communication. Students find it challenging to clearly articulate and communicate their design intent or concept, both visually and verbally, to jurors or evaluators because of the poor presentation techniques. So sometimes their sheets are not well composed, or the model that they are carrying doesn't have that much of detail, or there is mismatch between what is being showed in the sheet and what is being showed in the model, or even the data that are collected for the topic are not accurate, or there are multiple mistakes that the student have done during the data collection stage. So all these challenges are generally seen. The next is spatial and functional planning. Developing a coherent spatial organization and functional layout for the floor plans is also a task, but then you can overcome it but if you follow certain practices. So this is what will be discussed at a later stage. The next is incorporating regulations and sustainability, because understanding and integrating building codes are necessary. Then only you will be able to justify the floor, the total area for the site, as well as for the built up. So how much is ground coverage, how much is setback, and all the internal corridor width, like FSI, building height. So all these are generally mentioned in the development control rules or the national building code. So accordingly you have to use these building codes in your design, so that your design is and ensures safety of the users. Visual presentation quality. Creating professional and impactful presentation sheets and models and digital walkthroughs can effectively convey the thesis intent, and is a common hurdle because you are not able to compose your sheets in a particular order or sequence. So you have to understand and learn this art and again go back to all the design submissions that you have done and evaluate yourself that what were the mistakes that you have done in the past, so that you don't do the same mistakes in your thesis submission. Handling feedback and criticism. Processing the juror feedback constructively and not arguing with the examiner, because the examiner who is being called to review your work is an expert in that field. So whatever is being suggested, try to note down rather than just arguing. You can respectfully put forward your point of view, but then ultimately you have to note down the feedback that is being given by your examiner, rather than just arguing what you think is correct, rather than understanding what is actually correct way to do. But at times there may be a situation that you may be correct because you have gone through certain documents or certain the details of the project that the examiner may not have done it. But then you should always respect your faculty or your examiner. So there should not be a question regarding that. So try to respectfully put forward your point, but at certain point of time you have to limit yourself. Then resource constraints. Limited access to materials, software licenses or expert guidance can restrict the depth and quality of the thesis work. So that is to be thought of. So now how do we overcome all the challenges that is listed in the previous slides? So overcoming challenges in architectural thesis requires strategic planning, consistent effort and seeking the support from your supervisor or from your peer. So first define a clear and feasible topic for yourself. Then develop a balanced workflow by breaking the project into manageable phases. integrating research and design iteratively, enhance technical skills by practicing key software before you enter the thesis stage, and model making techniques ahead of time, clear and frequent communication with mentor and peers. Finally, effective time management is the key to complete all the tasks at the certain stages that is being mentioned. So some suggestions from my side regarding how to overcome the challenges include choosing a focused and feasible topic is that select a thesis topic that genuinely interests yourself and aligns with your skills and your available resources. So for example, you should select such a topic in which you are able to get a proper case study, or you are able to get a particular site for your project easy, not easily in that sense, but the appropriate site you can select within your reach. So that has to be understood, and then select the topic accordingly. So try to list out pros and cons for each of the topic, and then see that in this short duration of time you have to complete the task, also not compromise with the quality of your work. So what would be the best options among the topics that you have selected, then accordingly select the topic. So because once the topic is selected, you are not generally allowed to go back and then change the topic for architectural thesis. If at all you come and tell us that you are not able to get the permissions, or you are not able to get appropriate case study or site for the project, then that would not be considered a good signal. So that is why selecting a case study or selecting a project is necessary at early stage. A well-defined realistic topic helps to maintain motivation and ensures the project is manageable. Avoid overly broad subjects to keep the research and design tightly focused. So don't select too big a topic which can't be handled within this short duration. For example, if you are trying to redevelop a market area, so limit yourself to a certain part of that market. It should not be that you are redeveloping the entire market area as big as some for example, it may be a Connaught Place type of example, or maybe similar kind of marketplace in any other city. So you limit yourself to a certain you may prepare a master plan for the entire site, but then try to detail out some specific part of the project, so that one over detailing of the entire project is not feasible within the short duration. So that has to be well thought of. The next is developing a structured workflow, that is break down your thesis work into clear stages. You should develop the stages for your thesis work in the initial after you have completed your initial research. You understand, and by that stage you are able to clearly comprehend that what different work or schedule is required for you to complete your task. So accordingly divide your time for the and prepare the structure for your work. Create a detailed schedule. This disciplined approach reduces last minute rush, and that you don't overburden yourself at the last moment, and you do not compromise with the quality work. Enhance technical skills, that is invest time early on building proficiency in specific software, so that they help you prepare some very good sheets for your presentation. All the details that are required, you are able to showcase those, and the questions that are generally being asked by the examiner are being answered by you through your sheets. Utilize online tutorials, workshops, or peer learning to strengthen these skills. If at all at the end you have any doubts, or use these different sources to clarify your doubt and resolve the query. Seek regular guidance and feedback. Engage frequently with your mentors, advisors, and peers for insight. Constructive feedbacks help you clarify the concept and spot issues at the early stage. Open communication also fosters confidence and keeps the project aligned with the academic expectations. The next is managing time effectively and staying organized. So in this case you have to develop a strong time management habits by prioritizing tasks setting achievable goal for it may be a daily or it may be in a weekly pattern, and then try to see yourself that okay, if you are able to proceed at a correct pace or not. Use tools like planners or digital apps for organizing your work. Effective time management diminishes stress, ensures steady progress, and leaves room for quality work at the end. Communicate clearly and professionally. So focus on clear visual communication by creating legible drawings in your sheet, so that whatever you are speaking in front of examiner, you are able to showcase that through your drawings also. And accordingly, you should have some references if you are taking a certain decision in your design stages. So always have those references along with the sources, so that you mention it to the examiner when there is any question. Use diagrams, walkthroughs and models to complement the explanation. Practicing presentation is also an art. Try to practice the presentation before you directly appear before the examiner. So try to see how much of time is generally required, and if there is any time that is given, for example 20 or 25 minutes, try to compose your explanation within the time frame, so that that also leaves a good impression in front of the examiner. So always try to finish your explanation within the time that is allotted. Then conduct thorough preliminary research before diving into the design. Spend ample amount of time researching on the background of the topic. Since the topic that you have selected, you should know each and every detail related to the project. For example, if you have selected to design a multi-speciality hospital, then what are the different specialties that you are targeting within the thesis stage? Try to understand the details. For example, if you are detailing for the orthopedics, then the entire workflow within the orthopedics department has to be understood. Then in case if it is an OPD, so how does OPD function, that has to be focused. Thereafter, if there is any other areas within the hospital like emergency, how does emergency function, and how is OPD and IPD connected with emergency, and how it is connected with examination rooms such as your X-ray or other things like operation theatre, where it is to be located. So the connections between all these different spaces has to be understood in detail, so that you are able to answer each and every question that is being asked during the review or viva. So thorough research helps you substantiate the thesis rationale and guides for the informed design decision that you take. So where the mortuary has to be kept, or where the canteen has to be kept, from where the food for the patients has to be brought. So all these small things that are there within the hospital designing that is being just explained as an example has to be well thought of. How are you thinking about parking of vehicles? How are ambulances coming inside the hospital premises? How are the if there is any other spaces such as a small kiosk for the security, how is that positioned within your campus? Or if there is any small bank that is located, how have you planned that bank within the premises of the hospital, because there are many people who would require loans or some amount of fund to complete the entire health checkup of or to complete the entire process of healing of the patient. So that also has to be kept in mind. So these are multiple things that has to be well thought of. So the only answer is to do a proper case study. So once if you have selected a proper case study, you will understand all these challenges beforehand, and accordingly think of for your thesis. Then next is maintaining a consistent documentation. So document every work that you have done. You have to keep all your rough sheets with you, so that you can show the progressive progress of your work, the different stages that you have overcome to reach the final stage. That is also necessary in your thesis. Then next is build a support network. Surround yourself with peers, mentors who can offer different perspectives, resources and encouragement to you. This is important, so that positive mindset is always fostered. Stay flexible and open to change. Be prepared to adapt design ideas and research direction during the discussion with your supervisors. Flexibility allows refinement and improvement of work. Focus on sustainability and social relevance, because these are some contemporary architectural values that the jury always looks for. So always incorporate these things in your design. Use visual and digital tools effectively so that you communicate your design idea clearly to the examiner. Practice presentation skills as suggested before. Always rehearse oral and visual presentation so that the time frame that is being given to you, complete your presentation within the time limit. So to conclude this presentation, architectural thesis faces challenges like topic selection, balancing research with design, and basically the time management is an important aspect that is to be focused. Technical proficiency, clear concept communication, and effective special planning are the critical factors that has to be followed. Incorporating regulations, sustainability, and refining visual presentations also enhances the thesis quality. Structured workflows, continuous skill improvement, and regular mentor feedback also helps you overcome certain challenges. Clear communication, flexibility, and support networks and digital tools are key to the successful thesis. So keep these things in mind, and I am sure you will be able to complete your thesis within the time frame with some good quality work. So these are some activities that are suggested that you can complete after the end of this lecture, and come up with answers to this. These are resources that are listed here that you can refer, and in our next presentation we will focus on the tips for jury presentation and final defense. So how can you master your presentation, some ideas related to that will be discussed. Understanding and connecting with the jury by knowing that their expectations and guiding them through the design journey will be discussed. Presenting design and research clearly, how to do that, and what ideas have to be incorporated in sheet composition will be discussed. Using visual and oral tools to overcome the hurdles during jury presentation will be discussed. Time management and handling questions during the reviews will also be discussed in the next presentation. Thereafter, preparation and practice for the thesis. So what are different ways by which you can overcome this challenge, that is how to prepare yourself for the defense of your architectural thesis. So this is also will be focused in our next presentation. So with this I'd like to conclude my presentation, and I hope the learnings related to the challenges and some solutions that I have just shared with you might be helpful to overcome the challenges. So with this I'd like to conclude my presentation, and thank you for your patience listening.